friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average Canadian wolfpack come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A safe space where being yourself is the ultimate goal. Each week we will bring you new episodes sharing our experiences on a ton of different topics in hopes we get a better understanding of ourselves, each other, and this crazy world we live in. We want to build a community where we can show up as ourselves, be real, and lay it all out there. By sharing our experiences, we hope to reach others who can relate so we can all help each other learn, grow, and heal. But please keep in mind, as a disclaimer, none of us here are professionals. No one is giving any advice. We are strictly speaking of our life experiences, our opinions, and for entertainment purposes only. Now, with that being said, grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. We hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so fucking much from the bottom of our hearts from coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy and I am the host of the show. And today, y'all, we're on episode 102, The Side Effects of Porn. I can't believe I'm saying 102. Should I say 102, 102? I don't know. You guys let me know. It just feels so crazy that we're even at 100, now at 102. And it even feels crazier that we're actually talking about porn on the show because this is such a huge taboo topic. And it's one where we feel people aren't really being as real about it. And there's a lot of topics that we just haven't talked about yet. And not for any other reason. It's just that we only have so much time today. But also we want to make sure that we're saying things in the right way or we feel safe to do so. And now that we've come out and talked about more controversial topics as time and time goes on, we feel a lot safer that we can be honest and be real about these even bigger taboo topics. And porn is definitely one where while we go through this episode, I want you guys to have an open mind and open heart and understand that everything that we're saying, we're doing are just based on our opinions, our knowledge of what we know and our experiences. And we want you to come and talk to us if you have something different. I think the biggest thing that we're always worried about talking about this stuff too is because it is tied so much to what women deem as, or people deem as women empowerment. And if you talk about that, therefore you're not for women. And I just don't think that's the case. We are 100% for women and we're about informed consent. And I think one big theme that I noticed a lot in my DMs when talking about this is a lot of people had no idea the depths or the darkness that does come with this. And as we were researching this, we found a lot of dark and deep coming from people within the industry, the ones that have left it, and maybe not the ones that are in it currently, but the ones that have left it. And it just kind of broke our hearts a little bit to know that these women didn't have informed consent when they went into this, or they had no idea why they were doing it or what they were getting into. And I just think it's important if we talk about, you know, the empowerment that it brings and the boss babe mentality and the money and all that, so I think it's important that we talk about the other side as well. And talking about how does this affect us as a society, not just as individuals, how does that shape and mold what we're seeing in the world today with what we think is over-sexualization of everything. So it really does, I think, start here, and a big part comes from here. And I think it's important to remember, because we say there should be boundaries and we need to talk about the bad and the extremes, it doesn't mean we're saying cancel this or get rid of it or you're a bad person if you watch it or if you love it. We're not saying any of those things. What we're saying is we need to have the conversation of, is this affecting people? Yes. Is it affecting relationships? Yes. Is it affecting people's idea of what sex is and what intimacy is and what relationships are? Yes. And we can't talk about it because it's taboo, or you're a piece of shit, or you're a bitch, or whatever, you're a prude. I just don't think that that's the case. And well, since it's our show, I guess we're allowed to talk about our opinions and experiences here, right? Anyways, guys, I have an amazing episode with my babe, Haley. I'm so excited to continue on these chat to end season 4, the side effects of last episode. I hope you guys loved having our male energy on the show. Dusty will be coming back and actually, in fact, has requested to talk about this topic specifically from a male perspective. So we will bring him back on, and our host, Kay, she is also has some more things to say. So this is definitely going to be a multiple part episode, but in this month, we're talking about side effects. Last episode, backwards clown world. This one, the effects of porn. We're also going to be talking about the effects of digital life, online fantasies, made up AI world, not based in reality. And we also got a last minute one that we're going to sneak in for you guys, but I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but we are going to be launching a finale to wrap it up so we can start season 5 with episode 105. I don't know if you guys are numbers people. It was just weird to start season 5 as 104. It just didn't seem right. So I convinced some of the girls to come on for a last minute in your face episode about a topic you guys are absolutely loving. But pornography, guys, again, please keep an open mind. If you have, I'm so used to the camera being up here. If you have a different opinion, a different experience, please, and you want to talk about it on the show, please, we would love to. I will sit back, I will shut the fuck up, and I'll be educated on your experience and your opinion. But me and Hales are going to share ours. Before we go on to that, though, guys, if you're watching on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, make sure you're turning on those notifications. Make sure you're subscribing, guys, and like these videos. Take a moment right now if you can. Like the video. If you can, of course, we would love to hear your feedback. Message us. Let us know what you think about this episode, any episode ideas that you have, or what you want to hear us talk about, or again, if you have something completely opposite to what we said today. But I will shut the fuck up and we can get on to the show. All right, babes, it is time to get on to the show, and we are talking about pornography with my babe, Haley. Hey, girl. Hey, what up?
Hey, not much. How are you?
I'm just thinking what a dope way to end and start the week is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, we love this, but I think, I don't know why, if you would ask me 5 years ago to talk about porn like this, I don't think I could have. And like,
No.
I'm really excited about this episode, to be honest.
It's one of those cans of worms that I feel like not a lot of people are interested in opening because it's not quite, it's taboo-ish, not so much now because it's just so like mainstream and everything, but it's almost like a shameful thing, I feel like still.
Yes.
Like not a lot of people want to talk about porn unless you're close with that person or, you know, it's just kind of one of those topics.
You're in the industry. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And actually before this, and I'll try and post it to the page, I was watching a video with Jordan Peterson about the effects of all of it. And I think that's what he's saying is that you don't see many guys like bragging about it, being like, oh, I'm such a man. I consume so much porn. It's kind of like, no, there's not like, I don't think there should be shame in it by any means, but I think there needs to be awareness of reality versus this. And that's what I think we wanted to talk about, is that I don't think a lot of people understand that either the gravity of the industry or some of the bad parts of it and the side effects in relationships, self-worth, da-da-da-da-da. And I think this is why we're like, yeah, let's talk about this and let's open the conversation today.
Well, like I said, like it's still very much one of those things you do very much in the privacy of your own home. It's mainstream. It is literally everywhere. I mean, OnlyFans, like all over social media, in our TV, in our movies, but it's still oddly something that, no one talks about. And it is very much a like secret almost. Like,
yes. And if you speak out about it or you talk about it in any other way other than like
you're a prude,
positive, you're a prude, or, you know, you're not for women empowerment and you're, you know, just terrible. You're like a grifter or something. And I'm like,
I don't like that. I think that is really, I think it's dangerous. Really disgusting that people say it's women empowerment, because what porn have you found or ever seen that has a woman empowered? It's a woman being degraded and a woman being almost abused in a lot of ways. Like, I don't buy that. I don't like, I see where they're coming from. It's to spin it to make, it's spinning a shitty situation to be something positive, and I can appreciate that aspect of it, but like, I do not buy women empowerment at all.
No.
That's just me, but like, I don't at all.
And I think when it's a confusing message is like, I think it's important to be empowered with your body, but I think that what everything is being sold is a little bit of a lie right now. And I was watching a video before this where it was just saying, you know, these women were like, yeah, but I'm making all this money, but da-da-da-da. And the guys were like, that's great, but you're not going to be making that money for 10 years, if you're not investing in being smart, it's just kind of like the oil field when it was booming, you know, everyone just was like, fucking da 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 da. I'm sure a lot of people can agree.
It's good while it lasts, but it doesn't last for long.
It doesn't last for long. And that's what they're kind of saying. And unfortunately, the other video was kind of saying that with OnlyFans, you're selling the idea of a spouse, like a boyfriend, a fake online relationship. So it's gotten so much deeper than just, you know, what it was 10 years ago. Like Jordan Peterson said, now the guys are seeing this fake idea of a woman because a lot of people, you know, in that industry are, you know, done up. That's what they
show.
do.
It's an actress. They're an actress.
Yes, it's performative, and so
paid to do it.
Yeah. and then guys are looking at that performance and they're looking at that look and getting attracted to that, and not feeling attracted to regular women. And this is actually becoming a problem in real life. And it's like, okay, hold on. There's so much to talk about here. Like my mind is blown with the layers of this.
I remember when, like, I can't believe I'm going to be saying this out loud. I remember when we were not younger, but like younger, anal was a big thing. And, girls like anal. I know girls like anal. It's like, who other than someone that's getting paid in porn? There's maybe, like, I realize that some people do, but like, it just gives the worst expectations. And like you said, they see something online, this perfect, beautiful, very agreeable woman who likes everything you seem to like and all this, and then they go to see real life women who are like, nah,
don't put it in my butt.
And it just really, it sets everyone up for failure. It has completely ruined intimacy.
And that's what I was saying too, right?
Sure.
Like, there's so much more than even just talking about the industry, like, and then like the sex workers. Let's just throw that out of the bag for 5 seconds. All of the side effects, like we said, we were talking today about it, that I didn't even realize was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think because we were in a very lucky generation that it was there and we seen it, but it wasn't like it is now.
We started without internet too. We had to go to I had friends that used to fish stuff out of dumpsters behind dirty stores, adult stores, stealing parents, like your dad's porn.
Pirated.
He had DVDs, like you don't, or VHS, even worse. like we didn't have the accessible internet that they do now. So I feel like I agree with you. We are in a very interesting generation of, like, we have seen the very much before and the very after of the power of the internet porn. Because internet porn is where I think it all went whoosh out. Like, it was just.
And I don't know if you've seen what I shared the other day on my story, and I'll try to share it through this post, with what the girl was saying, and what I'm finding is in tune is that it's that hit of dopamine, right? So eventually that vanilla porn that we all know that most people enjoy watching because that's what they like, that vanilla, because it's real, it's honest, it's, you know, like it's more relatable. Yeah. But if you are an addict and you keep watching it, eventually that's not enough. So then you get to this, what they called, it does. And you have to go to this gonzo level, which I didn't even know was a fucking thing, where it's like abusive women. It's like, you know, all those things. And people can say they like it, but again, like you said, they're actresses. So when you're hearing the survivors come out of it saying, for all the reasons why they were looking like they were agreeable during it, was actually just acting, and they're so fucking don't even want to talk about what they did back then because they were so out of character, and it makes me sad. So I feel like these are the conversations we have to have. Like, is your sexual desires watching that fantasy more important than women being harmed and kids being trafficked and all of that? Is just my question. Like,
it's funny you say, like, vanilla sex, too, because when have you ever found porn that is, like, just regular two people having an intimate moment? It's not.
It's not.
It is always, like, the most bizarre extremes, or, like, just, like, not cute or sexy sex. It's performative sex. It is literally for the show of it. It's not for... And it doesn't... like... It's weird, and I'm going to say this a lot on the show, but now having a kid, especially a daughter, I had that discussion with Nick. I said, we give her a cell phone, say the early, like, kids are getting cell phones at like 10 now, so she has access to the internet at a young age. You want your daughter's first, like, view and, like, first introduction to sex being, like, hardcore anal sex or like abusive BDSM stuff, like that's what they're seeing, and that's what it's like, oh, that's what sex is. Like, no.
Yep. And then the boys, like the girl was saying, and then the boys see that, and then they have never had sex before because that's the first time they're seeing it.
And that's
and then
what
they go out and they go try and do this to these girls, and some of the girls are either like, no, that's not for me, and then they're kind of made fun of, which I will attest to. Like, I was one of those girls that didn't quite understand as a teenager the obsession with porn, because I was like, and I'm not knocking it, like I know that sounds like I am, but for me, sex is just private. It's just between the two people that are there. So for me, watching other people do that performatively or not,
it's uncomfortable.
In a movie or not, it feels uncomfortable to me, because I'm like, I wouldn't want someone to watch me do that with my other you know what I'm saying? So I never understood it, but I understood that all guys did it and it was just acceptable. And I just remember thinking, I remember like it was so weird. We'd be at like parties and someone would put it on in the background. I'm like, this is weird. Turn it off. What is this?
I never understood couples that watched it together either, because I feel like that, like people, oh, it's healthy, you should watch porn with your boyfriend. I would rather do anything else with him. Uncomfortable anything. I'd rather go to like a root canal side by side and like hold his hand than what I don't want, like we were talking, like I don't look anything like that. I'm sure there's some girls in porn that I may look better than, and there's sure as fuck some girls that I look way worse and different than. Like, I do not have big, perfect round boobies. My butt is not perfect and like I don't have all, like that is not who I am. So to have the man you love watching that in front of you, and like I just can't see how any girl would not have some form of insecurity about that. I've never understood watching it with people. I don't get that. I don't at all.
I don't. And it's like, and again, like, and this is one thing that I think what makes me mad about this topic is like, we can share that that's how we feel, and it'd be completely okay for someone else to be like, yeah, this fucking totally turns me on, like for whatever reason. But I feel like we don't get to have this part of the conversation because we're always just slammed for it. And it's like, you're somehow like kink shaming or shit. It's just like, no, we're bringing up our side of the conversation, where in my mind, when I'm a teenager, I'm already insecure. Like I remember, this is so embarrassing, but I'm going to say it anyways, because I want to be honest on the show. But I remember when I was younger and I had like orgasm, like quite exponentially for a teenager, and it was new to me, and I was like, oh, what's this? And it went around my friend group and it was in a joke, and I was like, oh, okay. And that is now, as an adult, I'm finding out is such a hot thing and all men want da 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 da. But when I was a teenager, it was a joke, and then people are making jokes about it in group, and I was like, this is mortifying. This is absolutely mortifying. And so when I thought of porn, I thought, okay, I'm mortified about that tiny intimate thing that like is supposedly like quote unquote like amazing and sexy, and I'm being made fun of this. Like, I'm so confused. This is a very confusing thing. And that's what kind of started my like sexual experience. And I will say this, as in our age, it was very much related that the more people you had sex with, I know you're in a relationship with your man, but I'm sure you've seen it. It was the more sex you had, the more you were wanted and you were valued. So you chased that. And now I'm looking and I'm like, there's so much damage I carried from chasing that as a young adult and a young 20-year-old. I'm like, why are we not talking about this?
I said that to Nick too, because I tried to have like a brief discussion just from a guy's point of view, because our point of view versus a man's point of view on porn is going to be night and day. But I told them that. I said, I remember back in the day, like 13 to 15, right when you're kind of getting to the age of like, what is going on? Boys are cute. That's a penis. Like, just that whole age. It is. It's pushed on you that men like girls with experience. Men like girls that have done this before. But oddly enough, now, if you go to a man our age and ask, do you want a chick who has a body count of 400? They're going to be like, fuck, no, gross. I don't. That's disgusting. So, like, how does that make sense that when you're young, child age, it's pushed that, like, experience. You need to fuck as many dudes, suck some dicks, get fingered. Like, it was just now, and it's like, exactly, dicks in your face. Now it's, yeah, if you go ask guys, they're like, I sure as fuck do not want a chick that is like that. I want someone who, you almost want someone who's chaste and completely a virgin, because
Yes.
you grow up and realize, ew.
It's a virtue. Like it, and you know what? Like this is where I can't not see that there's that push to break up like the family unit in the sense, and this is a piece of that puzzle, because I feel like it is, okay, so here's the different side effects that we have talked about when it comes to this. And yes, okay, there is going to be positives and there's going to be people that like certain things, and I fully understand that, but there's a lot of talk of that, and it is always cool, and like, you know, it is shame, but it's not shame. Like if you talk about it, you're like kink shaming, but it's not something that people outwardly, you know, are like, oh, I
embarrassed
watch porn all the
so
time.
much about anymore.
Yeah, and I think there's like a cool boundary. However, we need to talk about what is this psychologically doing to some people, and different to different degrees. So for example, myself, I don't watch it because I already have body dysmorphia. I already have issues, as you can tell from the past sexually. And I think that in my healing of that over the years, you know, going from like a total slutty teenager, because that's what you needed to someone married with a completely opposite part, to being single again, to being in a relationship, like at different phases of your life, and with birth control and not, like there's so much to it. But it all boils down to like, I didn't think it was going to be a positive thing to me. And I thought I was so alone in all of the side effects that it had for me, not even watching it. And then I started diving deeper and seeing like, no. People are massively affected by this, and not just their body dysmorphia, but it is an addiction to some people, and it is affecting their spouses. And people came to us in the DMs and was like, my marriage actually ended because of pornography. My son is so addicted to porn that he can't focus on anything else, because
I feel like young kids is when it peaks really high.
Yes.
It's just a distraction. I had friends with like hard drives full when we were younger of just like disgusting porn.
That's what I mean. And one of the girls brought up 2 girls, 1 cup. Is that what it was called? Remember that
I have forgotten and buried that in my...
So I'm not going to mention her name, but if she's listening, you know who you are.
Dude,
and I said, thanks
totally
for reminding
about
me.
that.
But that was when that's when the internet was just starting to get like all of this aggressive type porn, because I think had been a couple years of access to it. And so that's, like we said, that's what we say, where it's like quote unquote vanilla, where it's like normal, like that pizza guy scene, you know, those funny 80s porn.
But it's still not hardcore sex. It was cheesy storyline with sex.
And now it's like, then it went to like 2 girls, 1 cup, or like, let's watch women get fucked by horses.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember, this is odd, my very first introduction to, I'll say porn, even though it wasn't porn, was downloading a song on LimeWire, and it turned out to be the Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson boat sex tape.
That's amazing.
So I have seen that many a times, because I was like, what is this? Like, I remember watching it just like, what is going on? Like this, how is this like, what is this? And yeah, like, and that was LimeWire. I just aged myself a smidge, but that's okay. Like,
you did. At least you didn't say Napster.
Oh, that was on the list. But that's what I mean. Like, we have seen it go from just like, okay, so innocent. I feel like it really started and hit home. I don't actually know when porn started. I didn't really look into it, but like 60s and 70s with the freedom revolution of like sexual freedom and like sexual, like discovery Madonna. And like being like explorative that way. Like it obviously started like a long time ago, but I feel like with the digital age, we watched it go from like, I'm not going to say harmless, but like, cheesy storylines with some sex and like bounce, wow, like all that crap.
Obviously, to, like, acting.
Where we are now, where, like you said, like weird animal shit and like disgusting fetishes. I have literally seen, I don't know if I would call it porn. It was more, I don't even know what to call it. This little person, I would be polite, this little person had this dude's dick in her hand and she was headbutting his balls as hard as she, like when I'm saying headbutting, I mean like smashing her head into this dude's balls. And my friends at the time had shown, they're like, dude, look what I found the other day. And I'm like, what is this? Like, it was more comedy than anything. We're all like dying laughing. I'm like, this is fucking weird.
No, but that's the point though. It's like, okay, I know you've seen this video of like on Libs of TikTok where this is where how gross things have gotten, where they were talking about selling abortion porn to make money because there's so many niches in porn
vile,
that
yeah,
that has to be there. Someone would want, and the sad thing is that I wouldn't be shocked at this point where we're at, and people could think that we're crazy, but it's not. Again, my thing is the biggest conversation in my DMs over the last couple of days since I posted this poll that we'll go over here in a second was, especially those that were just watching, let's call the quote unquote vanilla porn. We're not seeing the bigger picture of it being linked to child trafficking, to sexual exploitation, to pimps. And like, okay, guys, we're going to have to talk about this. I'm going to call myself out. Originally, I said he was a fucking loser. I got reamed out. Turns out Andrew Tate, allegedly, but from what I see, as in my opinion, is a fucking digital pimp. Yeah, he self-ratted. He ratted himself out. But the thing is, if you listen to him, this is what a lot of people do. And so the second part of the conversation was, I didn't know. I thought all women that were in it because they loved it. Now you're telling me, exactly. Now you're telling me that that's not true, but they're acting. Why would they do that? Well, it's very simple for some of them. I'm not going to speak for all, but a lot of the survivors that I have watched recently have said that they were in a shitty situation or bad time.
Means to an end.
A means to an end, or someone came around and was like very helpful to them, paid for a bunch of stuff, took care of them, and all of a sudden was like, now you're going to pay me back, and this is how. And again, I'm not saying all, I'm just saying some. No. And when you start to understand that it's a bigger picture than just the innocence of watching a couple porn to get off with your spouse, fine, whatever. I just want to know that that's the kind of industry that you're also supporting too, though, right? It's like, is that worth it? It's not to me personally.
I find it hard to believe. And like you said, everything we say is just our opinion. This isn't facts. This isn't trying to bash anyone. However, I cannot see a woman getting into the sex industry, be it prostitution, be it OnlyFans, be it porn, whatever. You're not going into that without trauma. You are going into that with some form of damage that you're trying to then, like I said, reverse into a positive situation of empowerment. And you're taking control, and I'm going to make money off this, and this is going to, like, I am going to make this into something that is empowering. I truly don't believe that you go into that industry with clear conscience, clear mind, perfect life, like just one day, you know what? I think I'm going to get fucked for a living. Like that is just, it is always born of trauma, in my opinion, and born of like either shitty circumstance, crappy childhood upbringing, abusive upbringing. It's never, I can't see it being some wholesome person one day just wanting to be degraded for a living. Cause I, like you said, there's vanilla porn, and there's vanilla situations, but in most situations, it's degrading. You're getting paid to do gross stuff and to be subjected to some just awful things.
I couldn't believe that one girl said that the guy pissed and puked or made her puke in the bucket and then made her drink it, and she was just like, I didn't know how to say no, and I'm like, what? And I have no idea, because like honestly, I'm maybe a bit of prude or a vanilla, but I just don't watch it. I don't know anybody in the industry. I don't know anybody that's a part of it. So like, I honestly don't know, but I was always made to believe that I was the prude and that I have no idea and that I'm not a woman supporter, because I'm confused by the understanding of it's like I said earlier on my Instagram, it's like, fuck the patriarchy, but it's like, but they're the ones that are paying for it. And if they decide to take that away from you, then what? Then you don't have it anymore. And yes, maybe you'll find someone else. But I think this one leads me to what makes me the most sad about all of this is this industry and what they've looked at, made each other look at by gender. So if you watch some of these videos, specifically this one I was watching of the girls on OnlyFans, they were saying every single man that puts money into their services are trash human beings. They're just scum. They're nobody. They're pieces of shit. And it's just kind of like, it's below them. They don't need a man. And the reason why they're not finding men is because they're so independent and they're so boss babe that no one wants to be. And it just makes me sad because I'm like, she's 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's confidence.
That's what you got to tell yourself, though, to justify that. When in reality, too, some of those men that are watching are probably old teachers of hers and her dad's friends and like disgusting shit like that. Like,
yeah. And what makes me upset is that like when people say it doesn't affect, if it's not your lane and it doesn't affect you, but it kind of does. And I'm not talking about my work specifically. I'm just talking about at times in my life. I have been in a boardroom in a corporate setting with a bunch of men trying to get and I'm not a feminist. Y'all know that I'm for equal, but there is a lack of women in sometimes these settings. And you are, especially like in cannabis, the only girl in a room sometimes. And I'm very blessed with this new place and I'm not, but in my previous job, there's some times that you hear rumors and it's like, I heard of some of the people in the room that had subscribed to people that I knew on OnlyFans. And it's like, I'm sitting here trying to show my, like being heard and valued. And it's like
when
the same people, my peers.
Tits behind a desk.
And I'm not saying that those people specifically said that, but it's just shitty when you know that that's how maybe they're looking at women your age or your demographic and you're sitting there. I'm not saying everyone does. Like, I'm not saying you attested to, but it was just like, sometimes it does matter because if you're trying to be viewed for more than your body and most of your peers are being viewed at for their body, it's a hard fight to fight sometimes. Right. And that's where I'm just like,
it doesn't directly affect you or I in a personal way, but it does in the aspect of like it affects all women because porn has shaped the way men look, treat, and like
respect.
Like we're just it has, whether you want to admit it or not. It has. You see a woman walking down the road with huge, massive boobs. What's the first thing you're going to think of?
I'm jealous.
Me and you is either jealousy or like, fuck, her back must hurt, or like something weird. But guys, I wish I could see those. Or it just, it's not even just porn. Sex in general has just been so drilled into us. Sexual innuendos that go over our head when we're kids. That now when you watch movies back, it's like, ew. And like, it's so drilled into us that it really does. It doesn't affect directly, personally, every day, every second of the day.
But it has.
But it does.
Societally. Yes. Because like we talked about intimacy, the beauty of intimacy, the beauty of
it doesn't exist anymore.
Sex in general. Like it made, you know what? And I will call it out. You guys know, if you knew me as a teenager and a young adult, I was a slut. Like, well, like not like I'd have my phases, but that's because that you were sold that was our word. That's what we're taught. And now as an adult, I'm like, wow, I am processing this as an adult, and that was not great. And how did that happen on top of birth control stuff? You know, it's just like. So if you look at like the destruction, again, I'm going to come back to the destruction of the family unit because this is my beef. So we're going to get all the women infertile and on birth control because everyone just wants to fuck and no one wants to have kids at like a teenage, right? Because that's the most important thing, not school, not where you're going to be in life.
Learning about your body and learning about sex.
Yes. And that would have been great to learn about intimacy and connection and having it special, but it wasn't sold that way. It was sold in such a different way that I feel like we got fucked here in that sense. You know what I mean? Like
literally,
figuratively and literally. But what made me sad is that as an adult, I'm still fighting that. I'm still trying to find like what frustrates me as even an adult, even in the show. It was like, I bet you if we just talked about nonstop sex and like gossip and tea, we would sell so much more. If we even talked about this, if we did an OnlyFans instead of Patreon, we would have had far more people subscribe to our OnlyFans.
And it's just literally us talking like this, no skin. I'm literally from. You couldn't tell if I had boobs or not under this, like, but it's true. It's true.
It's true. So if we did that and we sold the show that way, and more of like, come look at these sexy bitches, and we not that we're not, but we don't. Yeah, but it sells, and it makes me sad because it's like the value of. And not even women, just general, is always about sex. And it's like every time I do stuff on the show, I'm like, well, this is so frustrating because this is such a good topic, but it's not sexy. So it's not selling. And it makes me sad because same with photography. I love doing photography.
Boudoirs are huge. If you're not doing that, I feel like you're not making money in photography.
Yeah, exactly.
It does. But
and it's great, and I think it's important, but again, there's a level to it that I'm like, when we used to do it, it was for yourself to look at, to share with your spouse. Now it's like every weekend, I'm not shaming, but it's like it takes the special out of it. And I think that's what I've always thought is like, more is less, because I always thought it was special. Like, I think that like for the majority of my part, my body is for my spouse, and that's exciting, and that's shared between us. And I'm not saying people shouldn't do that. It's just that all of a sudden now I'm looked at as like a prude because I want to share that with just him. Like,
well, how look at back in the day when they used to wear the floor length like dresses and stuff, and the boys in old westerns would freak out about seeing a woman's ankles.
Yeah, like, and now it's like I see people's clams at the fucking gym. Like, no offense, but like,
I was gonna say, even like. The pictures that we use to promote the show are all of us. We look all beautiful no matter what, but I'm always like, should I put makeup on? Do I have to like do my hair now? Because people are going to look at this and be like, who the fuck is this like bum sitting in front of me?
I know. Because like, I don't have any nice pictures right now.
Primed, like boobies out, like showing your, like, you're not a girly girl, and you're not a girl, and you're not what people want to see. And it's exactly that. We're not going to sell anything like that on the show. Like, we do not, it's just,
I don't have time.
There's no reality anymore. It's always, you have to like look like this for the world. Well, how about looking like that for you? If that's how you want to look and you feel good with your midriff out, like short shorts in the summer with your cleave all out good for you. Like that, I will empower. You do you. But 100%. If you're doing it for the validation and for the
identity,
like, that's where porn has really kind of ruined society. Like, we do it for everyone else. We don't do it for ourselves anymore.
Yep.
And it's just, and it's sad.
It is sad. And that's what I mean. It's taking away intimacy and connection and real unique beauty. And it's like, I feel like this is where the whole, like, in a sense, like plastic surgery, you know, between porn stars and models and actresses, it's like everyone's trying to look like this unrealistic version of a porn star, because that's what
we grew up with Playboy, and I think that's what started it. Everyone wanted to look like the Playboy playmates who don't. You think they look like that in real life? They are airbrushed to shit.
They don't. They do. I don't have blonde hair. I don't have blue eyes. I'm furthest from that. I am not that type of European. Like, you know, and so to me, I'm like, immediately my whole life, I have been quote unquote ugly or not sexy, because sexy is blonde, big tits and blue eyes. And I have nipples and some brown hair. And now do I think I'm beautiful? Yes, absolutely. I am beautiful in my own way.
That's but all of us girls' insecurities stem from those. It's exactly that. Magazines seeing nothing but beautiful, half naked, sexy women, porn, Playboy, just everything is just, it has literally been ingrained from day one, and everyone is affected in that sense. Even men. Are you kidding me? Guys with like huge, like pumped up dicks and like they're jacked looking in like this big gorilla with a freaking hammer coming out. Like, do you think most guys look like that? Fuck no. Do you think they want like their girlfriend looking at shit like that? Probably fucking not.
And do you think they perform that way too? Like, they all have, like, again, it's all a performance. And so that's why I feel like it took the intimacy away, and it took this like big performance or like steps that you have to be good at sex or have a good relationship. It just, anyways, let's go into some of the polls here.
So I want to know what real life people have said about this.
Real life people. And so here's the other thing I want to put to this too, is that I love statistics. I love talking about things, but always remember that there's going to be a degree of people that aren't going to answer.
Answer honestly.
Or, you know, some people answered some and didn't answer, because yes, although I'm not going to say names, I'm still seeing who's answering this, right? So I understand. So this is completely subjective. So those that answered, thank you. And this is just part 1, guys, of this porn discussion, because we're going to keep talking about this beyond this episode, because we have the other babes and some other people that actually wanted to weigh in. So the first question was, do you watch porn? The answers were yes, no, sometimes, and never have. So 75% said no, and 25% said sometimes.
So again, is it 75% of people said no? That's interesting. That is extremely interesting.
That's what I'm saying. We've normalized it, but is it anymore? And is it?
I mean, you said no.
It's not normal.
I have in the past, but I mean, recently I don't have fucking time.
Well, and that's the thing. And it wasn't like, not have you watched porn? Are you like a current porn watcher?
No.
Do you? No, right? So most people probably have, but maybe that's my demographic and my age, right? Or people comfortable. Maybe people didn't want me to know that they did.
I'm pretty sure I answered that, and I think I might have put yes, but only because I have, and I wasn't going to be like dishonest about it. But currently, again, no. But have I? Yeah, absolutely.
And I think too, like, I did not preface that very well, because I kind of said my opinion on porn, and then I did the thing. So it's just like, oh, she's not a person that watches it. I'm not going to say that.
So they don't want you to know. Yeah. Okay. So again, that's why I want to know more now.
Does your spouse watch porn? Yes, no, I have no idea. It's a problem. So 43% said no, 29% said yes, and 29% said I have no idea.
I feel like I said, that makes sense, because it's not taboo, but it is still very much a secretive thing where people aren't just going to be like, hey, honey, I'm going to go watch some porn, be right back. I'm going to go fucking yank one out in the shower, in the bathroom on my phone.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I'm just going to do that now.
Yeah.
Like, and I wouldn't imagine that. And I imagine too, like, sometimes maybe that's just not a conversation, because maybe we just assume all guys do, or all women do, or
honestly, if you were to ask me, I would just assume that like the majority of guys just do, but it's on their own time when they're alone.
Yeah, when they have some spare time. And honestly, like, yeah, I go back and forth. I don't know. Parts of me are just like, whatever. We'll save that for another time. It's more like, yeah, I don't understand it, because I think it's a personal thing and it doesn't turn me on. So I'm like, explain to me what do you get out of it without being judgmental? Because like, when I've got spare time to watch something, I'm watching something, rabbit hole on YouTube. And if I am having, like, and I've talked about this in, like, when we talked in season 1, we talked about like masturbating stuff. Like, I don't need to watch something like y'all. I have a very great imaginative brain. I don't need
best fucking porn you'll ever need.
Exactly. To me, it's like, it's based off my experiences, with
I
like,
also
my
save
spouse.
Most of that sexual energy that you get, if you're with someone, should be saved for your partner.
Exactly.
And to nurture your relationship with your partner, if I'm just being honest, right?
And that's what I mean. Like, if that nurtures your relationship between the two of you, amazing. But if you don't know, or if it's stemming it, like sore spot, I think it's really important to talk about personally, because a lot of DMs, guys, were about wives not feeling comfortable and feeling extremely insecure. And it's because their sex life isn't great. And then all of a sudden you're watching porn, right? So it's like,
you find out your husband is, and then you feel like, what am I doing wrong?
Why isn't he wanting to have that with me? Or like, especially if you're like going through a dry spell, and it could be nothing about you, right? Like, and that's why you have to open the conversation, and maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe it's just, I've always done it, like, I don't, and that's why I said earlier, I think people do it and they don't even know why, or the conscious.
It's a habit.
It's a habit. It's just things that people do, right? So the next question was, what do you think about porn? It's awesome. It's terrible. I'm neutral. Never thought about it. So 62% said it's terrible. And then 38% said I'm neutral. That was it. So no, it's awesome.
That
so I must just not have porn watchers in my I could just not
or
have
like
any.
we said, like I'm not knocking anyone that answered, or they're just not answering 100% truthful, or it's just the people that do and that are for porn aren't comfortable answering it because they feel like they're going to be judged.
Exactly. And which, my apologies if y'all felt this way. Hopefully listening to this makes you feel like it's not. And again, just because I say I feel something about something and Haley feels that way, that doesn't mean that you have to feel that way.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure some people look at me and go, you're a fucking idiot for smoking weed, you big loser. And I'm like, that's cool. Don't like cannabis. More for me. Yeah. This is more porn for you.
You don't have to agree.
Yeah, you don't have to agree. You're never going to see me do it. I don't know. Okay, so next question. Do you know someone addicted to porn? Yes, no, you can't get addicted to it. Not addicted, but enjoys it. So 56% said no, 33% said yes, and 11% said not addicted, but enjoys it. So we would say that that would be like more of a 44% more leaning towards like watchers, and then no to maybe just not addicted, but no, that's a no. So, but I'd also open the question of, have you had this conversation with your spouse? Is this something you just assume? Do you know what levels?
More of an assumption? Yeah.
Has that changed over the years? Like
parents
you said,
with teenage boys too. If I had a teenage boy right now, I'd probably assume that he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of
and like,
society,
and again, it's crazy, but like, I have to have the conversations to them about porn and the reality. I know it's weird and awkward, but I think right now, especially when you're looking at some of the weird niche porn that are coming out, I'm so
terrified for that, especially with a girl. Like I
know, but I think it's important that they know that that is performative and that isn't real life, and that is like not extreme.
Forward to having to like go into that topic.
Oh man, I've had to have that talk with Benji, and it's no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Kitty over here, this freaking porn addict.
Really into it. She's a little pussy over here. I had so much to say in the corner. I'm gonna get booted off of YouTube for saying that. Fuck.
That's all right.
How did she get booted? Oh, she said the word pussy. I was talking about pussy cat. Guys, so do you think you can be addicted to porn was the next question. Yes, absolutely. No, it's not addictive. I've never thought about it that way. I'm leaning towards yes. This was the coolest answer array. So 43% said yes, absolutely. 14% said no, it's not addictive, and I never thought about it that way. And 29% said I'm leaning towards yes. So we're going to say majority of people are either yes it is or
it is.
Okay, yeah, it is, guys. Anything you can get ahead of dopamine.
Yeah, I was gonna say the dopamine hit, no matter if it's from meth, weed, crack, porn, anything. Hell, if you like knitting and it gives you a dopamine hit, like you can get knitting. Like anything that gives you that dopamine hit is 100% addictive.
I fucking love to knit.
Granny's over there just fucking like orgasming to the knitting.
The side effects of knitting, episode 102. No, but in all seriousness, I think the important of this though is that you can, guys, and that is not shading. That is just saying be aware.
Yeah.
And what is addiction, right? It's you know, I had this whole thing, but I'm going to not do it. I think we should just keep it to this for right now, because what is addiction and what is normal? So let's say you have a beer every night for dinner, every single night, and then get wasted on the weekend. You probably have an alcohol problem. If someone tries
having it and see how you feel. Exactly. I feel like that's
the same thing.
If you do something habitually, try stopping it. And you'll be able to quickly figure out if you're addicted or dependent.
Yes,
I won't say addicted, but dependent on it.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing too is notice when people talk to you about it, how you react. If you were like reacting and be like, no, I'm not, or like, that is a signal to you to be like, that person triggered me. Why? Well, they hit a truth button, right?
Yep.
And again, it's not that necessarily saying that being addicted to porn is bad or again, watching it, any of those things is bad. It's understanding the consequences and the effects and being aware of what it's doing to you as a person in your relationships and your attachment to reality. And we'll talk about this in the next episode, is the dangers of online reality. And this is what I want to bring up in a sense of dangers of porn, in the sense of like OnlyFans, where they're now people are starting to develop. It's not just pictures, you guys. It's not just buying photos, because you can get free photos
falling in love
online. They're
like
falling in love.
I feel like just online relationships in general, like it is it's an alternate reality. You can be anyone on the internet. You can have any story. If you didn't see my face right now and it was just our voices, I could tell you that I'm a 6 foot tall, blonde haired, green eyed Amazonian queen. And what do you have to dispute that? Nothing.
Nothing. You don't. That's why it was so scary coming on here and y'all seeing our real mugs. So I'm just kidding. We couldn't pretend anymore. Just kidding. I'm not a beautiful Australian woman. No, I'm just kidding.
Gorgeous. What are you talking about?
This is what real Canadians look like. But it's true. And it really too, again, like we said, think about the young girls now think, okay, just like the TikTok influencers, we don't have to become plumbers and electricians and engineers and doctors and nurses. We can just dance and become these influencers. So all these young, beautiful girls
selling yourself and your body.
Yes. And Pornhub has been called out. There's so many porn sites that have been called out for young trafficking, holding girls to doing these things. Same with Andrew Tate. Like, that guy fucking sells on how to get bitches hooked in, and like, oh my God, you guys, it was so disgusting. I'm going to link it after I post this because this was absolutely terrible. But this is y'all talking to these women on OnlyFans. It's just like with strippers, for one, even if they are talking to, if it is them, it's not real. They're selling it to you. So if you want to keep telling yourself that, that's fine too.
They want that money, honey.
But they're also probably paying an agency, which is probably a dude in his fucking basement or someone like the Andrew Tates of the world talking to you and keeping you hooked because they know what you want to be told, because they
know what you want to hear.
And they know you want to hear. And it's just, they honestly, there is some agencies that these girls get a portion of. They get, let's like say 33%, 60, and the rest is split up between the agency that's posting and running her page for her and their pimp, their digital pimps. It's no fucking different. And then they get paid in crypto, like fucking Andrew Tate said. So there's no fucking traceability whatsoever. Yeah. And what he says is that you make them dependent on you so that they can't manage talking to this many guys and making this money. So then you're enslaved to them. And this is what actually human trafficking is. And there's a lot more of the Tates in the world doing this as digital pimps. And I'm not trying to be that way, women. For sure, you're making money, and come at me. I'm not making money.
Though. They sell it as empowerment.
But that guy's running your shit. And once he goes, like, I'm not saying y'all can't do it, but I'm saying is that, and what these guys are saying, this lifestyle that you're paying for, on top of it, apartments, flying everywhere, all the money, all the fucking makeup, the extra stuff, like that all costs money. It's like, it's like a cash cow, you know? You're gonna have to keep putting into it.
When the not sugar baby, but like the Abu Dhabi girls that used to go over to the Middle East, and like some of the vile things that I've heard they get done, they're like getting shit on, getting pissed on, like the weirdness, and like it is they to live that lifestyle that they want to live, being like adorned in like beautiful designer clothes and having your hair done all the time and your lashes and your makeup done and like all the bougie jewelry and stuff, that comes at an extreme price, not just the financial price. That comes at your dignity. That's why what we're saying, like it all kind of links together, like prostitutes, porn, like the call girl, sugar baby, like the whole industry of just the sex industry, and trying to sell it as you're empowered. You get to be your own boss. You get to wear designer clothes. You get to get all the nice Louboutin shoes. You get to do all this, fly on private jets, and for what? Yeah. To go get
it's not
pissed on?
It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. I think it's the thing that worries me, right? It's just like, again, we're getting so caught up in like having to have all this money and this stature and this and this and this. It's like, okay, and that's fine. But when things all change and you get into your mid 30s and you realize the damage that you did in your 20s by not thinking about consequences and thinking forward in the future and investing it, or the physical damage,
having to
like
wear a diaper because you've done too many anal scenes.
And that's a thing. Like, that is a thing that people, again, don't want to talk about because it's not sexy. And it's like, and that's why I want to have these conversations, guys. And the shitty thing is the amount of DMs that I got about this where people are just too afraid to talk about it. So let's keep going on this poll here. So, do you think porn is good for a relationship on the polls? Yeah. What polls? Stripper polls?
Right.
Do you think porn is good for a relationship? Yes, totally. No, it's not good. Yes, with boundaries. I'm not sure how to feel. So 57% said no, it's not good. So majority. 14% said yes with boundaries, and 29% said I'm not sure how to feel. And I can't even
express to you how like a no that's like that's the easiest one for me to have answered. Absolutely not.
I think if you want to record your own porn, I think that's cool.
Watching you and your partner, for sure.
Like, if a thing, like, and again, like, honestly, if you guys are honest with each other.
But that's an like, intimate between you two kind of thing.
No, I mean, like, watching it. Like, if you're honest to goodness, but if you're a woman or a man in that situation, just saying yes to please your partner sexually, I think that then it is not a good thing. Excuse me, because then I think you're just doing it for them. And then again, it's saying that sex is performative and it's for somebody else when it's supposed to be for you guys together and a connection together.
To be together and to like, I agree.
I just think sex is just cheaped out so much because it's attached to pleasure. And I do think that that's great. But I think there also needs to be some, it makes me sad that I just treated it so cheap, and that I feel like I grew up feeling cheap, and now as an adult, I'm trying to find, or that I was looking for words.
How we grew up, we did things, and you were just taught that things were for different. It was just different reasons. Like if I could go back and do it all over, I would have been the biggest prude. Because honestly, like
I would have held on to my child, we
are just so ingrained that like to be popular, you have to be this. To be liked by boys, you have to be like this. To be like everything, and it should really just be taught like you have to live with yourself.
Yes.
You have to live with what you've done, and like that's fine. And like I'm sure everyone finds their way, but it's about what you feel. The one thing that my aunt always told me that I thought she was disgusting when she said it because I was 13 years old. She said, I'll never forget it. I'm going to get us kicked off YouTube again. Pussy power. Yes. You have the power. It is your decision whether you do anything or not. Yours and yours only. No man's, no partner of yours can ever make you if you don't want to, you don't do it. That's just how it goes. And I remember thinking like, ew, that's just, don't say that to me, pussy. Ugh. But now thinking about it, that was probably the best piece of advice that I should have paid way more attention to.
Yes.
It is absolutely your power, and it all lies with you. Because honestly, we're so afraid to say no when we're younger, and I think that's the scariest thing. You don't want confrontation. You don't want to be attacked. You don't want them to not like you. You don't want
to be that girl.
To be able to say no, to be that girl as a teenager and young adult is so powerful. And I really wish more girls and our generation and like generations going forward just know the power of no. You will know that if you're in a situation you want to be, scream at the top of your fucking lungs for all I care. Get out of it and just know if you don't want to and you're uncomfortable, remove yourself immediately.
Yes. And I think what's really important too is just again, showing that value that there's more to it. And that's all genders, right? And it was just so ingrained that was everything.
Something special.
It should be something special. And if you look at it as a spiritual, as we get more spiritual, as we age, if you look that you take a piece of that and that interaction with that person was meaningless, and that adds up over time, I feel like you hold that trauma too, right? As you said that, if I'm going to, I'm speaking for myself. When I was single after my marriage, I would post obviously more racy pictures because I was I need to have validation that I'm beautiful because I just had a failed marriage and I didn't feel like
you want to feel good about yourself.
Exactly, in that marriage. And I didn't do that while I was married because I respect my spouse and I didn't think you should. But then it was like at the same time, and I'm always like, and again, women can, if that's what you feel empowered doing, I'm going to say it. Sure. If it is for sure empowerment, yes. I'm saying for me, it wouldn't be. It would be for validation that I am worthy because my sexual level or how sexy I am will depend on my worth. And that is based off of a man's opinion. And that was dangerous to me. And that's what I think all of this makes me feel dangerous for, because yes, I'm sure there is lesbians that watch it. Don't get me wrong. And I'm sure there's tons of it, but that is predominantly, you know what I mean? So it feels very dangerous for me personally. And I think it's a very fair question to be like, why is this so important in every day? And why is it when people brought it up or was like, I'm not into it, were you shamed? Like, I just never understood that. It was like, because I think this is a private thing, I'm a loser now. I don't understand this. Like, because I don't share my body.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And there's like really no winning.
No, because again,
you're a slut if you do and you're a prude if you don't. And it's just, you can't win.
You can't win. So I don't know. I'm more like, just protect the kids, guys. And I think that's where this boils down to. Again, the kids are not protected from the porn industry because there's nobody checking the people that are in it, the people that are watching it. And I'm sorry, my brothers were the first generations to have this, and my parents didn't know how to put blocks on the internet, and they
didn't really have them a lot of the times when it first came out either.
And it's not there now. And like, you can sit there and change your age when you sign up to these things. And I just think it's super dangerous. And this leads to the next question. Do you think that the world has changed since porn has become more available? Totally has, not at all. Now that you say it, yes, it's better being more available. So 43% said totally has, 14% said not at all, and 43% said now that you say it, yes. Because I don't think, again, we thought about this.
No,
right?
And
again,
like, if you think about it, I have, on social media specifically, I have unfollowed so many like joke meme pages because they partner or they all of a sudden start posting like really oddly like
over sexual things.
Yeah, over sexualized posts. And like there's this one that I've seen so many times on my timeline. It's where I like to cook in the kitchen and it's some chick in a thong like on the counter, on the table, and it's, you know what she means by cook, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
Or like the weird, like it's just, it is literally everywhere. It is literally everywhere.
How about, so we can't, you know, we can ban us and censor us for saying stuff about, let's say, a medical procedure. But I get about, I don't know, 7 to 8 fucking porn accounts liking my stories every fucking day. And like, plethora of them on Twitter,
and the
all
bots
of
that are constantly come see my wet pictures with like all the shitty emojis after, and like
I don't even search it and it comes probably because I've been talking about porn. This is probably why it's showing up, because I'm researching porn.
But even then, like it's extreme. It's literally everywhere. It's in commercials, it's on TV, it's on social media. It's
literally everything
thrust into your face no matter where you go. Like you really can't escape it. And it's all stemming from, like they want you, it's sexual freedom, it's empowerment. Like, this is for you. Like, take back your this. Like, no. It's like, no.
I just think that normal healing is okay. Like, I think that shitty things happen to a lot of people. I myself was sexually abused by a fucking massage therapist. I get it. It's disgusting. Yeah, that's a whole other ball game.
I feel like you'd be hard pressed to find a girl in this day and age that doesn't feel like she has been put in an uncomfortable position, whether it be sexually abused or just like you feel just horribly uncomfortable.
Yes,
and taken advantage of.
This is where I really do feel for the women that had no idea what they were getting into. And so a lot of the things that I have heard and watched is that, let's say they get into it lightly and it's light or whatever, and then they don't do this extreme thing or something, they're not comfortable. Well, I'm going to release this video and I'm going to release it with your name and I'm going to send it to your family and
blackmail, baby.
And it's so sad to me. And this is why I always warn people about posting. Do not post or send anything in your DMs that you don't want posted publicly. That should be your fucking number one rule. I said this to any girl
That's
that I
another big thing, revenge porn that we haven't even come close to touching.
We're not even going to touch half of this shit here tonight. But that's what I mean. Like the things that's what I'm saying. Be very careful because people can do a lot of stuff that you don't mean. And it's just.
What do you think Snapchat was created for? Honestly, I truly believe. Cheap. What do you think Snapchat was? It's a photo that disappears after 24 hours. What do you think that was created for?
100% meant for nudes. Yes,
for nudes and for just like scandalous photos that people want to send back and forth to each other.
Yes.
Is it used like that by everyone? Absolutely not. But I truly believe that that's kind of like, and it's geared towards children.
Same with TikTok. Guys, TikTok was made for children.
This
OnlyFans was actually made for fucking creators. There's people that make money. It was literally so you could subscribe to people you liked, to content creators. And
I have a girl I follow who's she creates clothing for herself. She has her own company. She's a music artist, and I love her dearly. But her body was deemed too sexual for Instagram, and they kept taking her posts down because she wears her clothes and she promotes it herself, taking photos and on her page. And because she is an extremely curvy and beautiful woman, big natural boobies, huge bum, she's viewed as sexual. So she had to go to OnlyFans to post just regular clothed, she's not naked. It's just the pants are so tight and it leaves very little to the imagination, and she is just overly curvy. Yeah, and she said, I have to go to OnlyFans because every other site I go, Facebook, Instagram, all this, are deeming my photos as too sexual. However, Twitter, I'm pretty sure, has porn on it, hardcore porn. I've seen that on Joe Rogan, and you can go find hardcore porn on that, and on Spotify, I'm pretty sure I saw recently too.
Yes. And that's what I mean. And again, guys, it's not just this light, this is damaging everybody, kids. Okay. So next question. Do you think porn is ethical? Did I do this one? No. Yes, 100%. No, 100%. It can be, but extremes push the limit. It all eventually leads to bad places. 71% said no, 100%, and 29% said it all eventually leads to bad places.
I think that I was part of that because it does. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things that start out with good intention that just immediately and almost instantly goes down to the dark place. And being that the nature of porn is just porn, no.
And it's not, like I said, it's not like it's just vanilla stuff anymore, guys.
No.
Do you think porn addiction is the same as drug addiction? 100% yes, 100% no. Undecided, the jury's still out. Close, but not exactly the same. So 100% yes was 57%, and close, but not exactly the same, 43%. I'm going to go with 100% yes. It's the same thing in the sense of addiction.
It's addiction.
Is it as destructive or can be as destructive as drug addiction? No, in my personal opinion. But it's the same mentality. It's the same mindset. It's just a different modality, and it still can have a
different substance.
Very big. Yeah, it's a very big damage. Like drug addictions to okay, you're addicted to cannabis, or you're addicted to meth.
I feel like drug is more of a very visible physical thing, whereas porn is more of a mental, and it can be physical, but mental addiction. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And next question, do you know someone affected by porn? Yes, someone I know. No, not one person. I think I do, but unconfirmed. Yes, it's me. So 17% said yes, someone I know. 50% said no, not one person. And 33% said I think I do, but unconfirmed. And I think it's a very personal thing. You would not, I don't think, be able to tell. With pill addictions, you just can't tell.
Well, especially since, like we said, people do it in the privacy in their home. You there's drug addicts that are out there on the street corner shooting up and don't give a fuck what you see. But you're not very often going to find someone on the street corner.
I mean, some people have been yanking on the bus. I've heard there's a few instances where that's happened.
LRTs and stuff, maybe, but they're rarely have porn in front of them. They're just some drunk whatever, just like
Yes.
jerking it.
Yeah.
But you're not often going to find someone sitting on the subway or on the bus next to you watching porn.
No.
And touching
Or they'll
themselves.
be in their car somewhere, hidden somewhere in
like
the
it's
bathroom
usually
at
hidden,
lunch. It's very private.
Yeah. So I feel like
And
that makes sense.
And I think a lot of the ways that you would see, like, if people were withdrawing from you and like getting away, I think you could attest that to other things, like, oh, they're super stressed at work, or, you know, they were drinking too much, or we're going through a phase. And, you know, and if you don't know that your spouse is watching this, it could be pretty shocking and upsetting. And you would immediately go, well, you're obviously not having an intimate relationship with me because you're watching this fake. So what it is that it's this dopamine thing. And that's what Jordan Peterson was kind of saying. I'll try and link the video this week when we post, was saying, like, if it's just like with anything, if you're going to be given like even a half-assed fake version of something, why would you go out and try and get the real thing? So with porn is that you're still going to get that dopamine of like sex, and then it's just going to get bigger and bigger, but you can watch more aggressive and more crazy porn. So it's just going to be, and then when you go into real life, you know, or maybe you don't, that that's not what women want. And then it's going to be awkward in your relationship.
It just doesn't do it for you anymore.
And then you have this false reality of what this porn star is what real women should look like. And if we're going to that like Barbie Playboy look, then I would say a lot of society is trying to form and mold to that look. But you're saying for a reason, and it's like, we're not doing that. We're not doing it for men. But that's what is been viewed as, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Why do you think Kim Kardashian is so popular? Because she has big tits and a big ass.
Yes.
How
Not
often
anymore.
do you see one of those very wafy supermodel type women being praised for how beautiful she is? Yes, they're beautiful. Like, look at Bella Hadid. She is beautiful, I think, but when I look at her body, she's been named like the most perfect and beautiful woman in the world. Her body, she is so thin.
Yes.
And I don't.
It's not realistic.
It's not, but it's just that pumped up like extreme that everyone is like desperate to like attain to. And then look, Kim Kardashian goes and takes all her like fake ass and fake tits out. And now everyone's like, oh, we need to be thin now. It's like,
but that's the thing. It's a trend.
And bodies are beautiful no matter what they are, and not everyone is going to look alike.
No.
I am very well aware of the side effects of having children now, and my boobs do not look anything like they did 3 years ago. I can tell you that. And like, my body is just, it's ever evolving, but I still, looking back, like, I was so insecure as a kid. Beyond insecure as a kid. And now I could give two flying like I told you the other day, I told the girls I went to the gym with my Lululemon shorts on. I don't think I've ever gone to the gym with tight shorts on, because it just makes me so uncomfortable and insecure. And I walked in that gym, granted it was 7:30 and there was only like senior citizens there. 7:30 in the morning, and it was all old people, but like I felt good. And it's just that kind of empowerment. Like, you want to show off your body, sure, but
showing
I would
off,
never have done that as a teenager. You would
showing
have
off,
dead.
Showing off and being proud and searching for validation, I think, are two different things can look the same on the outside, right? So one girl wearing shorts to the gym could just be like, I've gotten over a bunch of insecurities and I'm proud of myself for this. While another girl could be like, I'm wearing this because if I wear this, guys are going to look at me and that will validate that I am worthy and I feel good. And that's two different things that I think we get mixed up quite a bit. And that's why I try not to judge when I see. I'm not perfect, but at the same sense, I'm like, when I do, I'm like, maybe she has been a super scrawny girl and she finally built herself a booty and she wants to show it.
Proud of that.
Or she is selling her clam to everybody and someone wants to buy it. And regardless of one or the other, it's none of my business. And if I want to wear shorts, then I have to know that people are going to be thinking both things, and I'm going to have to be okay with it. So,
we really have to take back the empowerment bit. And I hate that, like we've said it this whole episode, I hate that it's sold as empowerment, because it's just, they've really butchered that word. It is just not used in the correct sense in the least. And it's true. Like, I think
true empowerment is true self-awareness and confidence.
And self-love.
And self-love. And I'm not saying that anybody isn't displaying those things. I think you have to ask yourself honestly if it is empowerment or if is it parading as empowerment.
I would be interested to get honest, and I mean it'd be hard to get honest feedback from some seasoned veteran porn actresses.
Yes.
What their self-love is. Do you love yourself? Do you genuinely, truly respect and love yourself? Because I don't know. It goes back and forth. I feel like they would say yes. I feel like most of them are going to say yes, and like I can agree and believe that they do. But like from my end, like if you loved and respected yourself, you wouldn't be getting rammed in the butt for money.
No, I know. I don't know. I guess the reason why I struggle is because I've never done it. So I'm just like...
That's the thing, though. Neither of us have ever made porn. So.
I just couldn't. I'd be mortified. Like, again, it's just something that... And I'm not raised Christian. I'm not raised any of those things. But I now, as an adult who treated sex like a commodity and was, like, bragging about my numbers growing up, I'm looking back and I'm like, that was a lot of damage that I wasn't paying attention to. And then I'm watching all these videos of people that are out going, I had no idea who that person is in your 20s. A lot of the times you have no fucking idea who you are, what you're doing. And in your 30s, you're starting to evaluate. And they're like, so I think the point is that whether you're in it or not, we need to have this conversation of how it's affecting people. I'm not in it. I don't watch it. It still affects my life. Why? Because it changes society. So, for example, next question, do you believe porn is skewing what sex is? Personally, I'm going to say yes right off the bat. So,
for sure.
It doesn't matter. 88% said absolutely yes. And then it said 14% younger kids, yes, adults, no. I kind of have to disagree. I think there's a degree where you could be like, yes, I know. But y'all, subconscious is a huge thing. That
molded.
Dictates 90% of our movements in life that you aren't aware of. So when you're watching that porn, you could be like, yes, I know that this is porn and that's not my wife. But subconsciously, you'll be disappointed in bed if your wife, she doesn't perform that way. And you might not know that. It might come out in other ways, but it is subconsciously going to be there.
Seriously, it's the equivalent of Disney movies for girls. Yes. It sets you up for false expectations because that is not what love is. There's no Prince Charming to come and save you, and that is not what sex is. And being a mom, I do not want my daughter thinking that that's what making love, which is why now that you're older, you get why they call that, where you think it's so cheesy and disgusting when you're young. Yes. That's because that's what it is. It's not meant
intimacy.
It's just it really does set up kids specifically who then mold into what we are now. It sets us up for failure because no one likes like an eighth, a third, a fourth. Like you don't like almost any of what they do in porn because you know what? One, it's uncomfortable. Two, it's disgusting. Like
it's just it really does.
Fuck.
Wait, did you watch that before you put that up?
Yeah, like it is very I remember watching this documentary, 9 to 5 Days in Porn, when we were in our 20s, and it gave behind the scenes and how they prep for some scenes and how they get ready. Like literally this one girl for one of her scenes was getting the big end of a baseball bat shoved up her poop chute to prepare for one of her anal scenes. Like some of the stuff that they do to like, it's just vile. And like, why is that what we see as sex? It's not sex.
That's not for me. That's not for me. Like you want to get a fucking baseball shoved up your asshole.
I will never forget that scene because I remember I was watching with a bunch of friends and like they show that and all of us were like,
oh my God, what a fucking nightmare.
Is happening.
Like, I'm so sorry that people feel like they need to do that and you can't have good sex with your partner just like, and I'm not again shading, but it makes me sad that people, that human connection, that special moment, it doesn't.
Reality
it cheapens it so
fantasy.
Much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, whatever. Do you
I do believe it.
Crumbling? Do you believe porn? I'm like, whatever. I'm just mad.
Yeah.
Do you believe porn is crumbling the family unit? Yes, no doubt about it. With 67%. No, different things entirely 17%. You can watch porn and still be a family unit 17%. It actually straightens my relationship 0.
I believe
just, again,
you can have a relationship and watch porn. I'm not going to say you can't, but like you said, the amount of DMs that you got and like just knowing like it has crumbled families. It has ruined families. You can't have an intimate relationship with your wife because you're so addicted to porn, and then she ends up feeling completely disgusting about herself. She grows a complex, and then your relationship slowly but eventually dissolves and crumbles because
and then
I don't want to say
you innocently go ahead.
No, go. I don't want to say that relationships are based on sex, but unfortunately sex is a big part of a lasting relationship. If you don't have that sexual chemistry and connection, I feel like it is a big
very hard
part of it. Not all of it, but it is a big part of it in reality.
And what I was going to say is like when you don't get that connection or that part from your spouse and the porn isn't enough, then you've got OnlyFans that it's like just a subscription.
It's eternal seeking. It's essentially cheating.
That's what I mean. I'm not trying to say that, but it's just like
I wouldn't say porn is necessarily because it's like watching movies, but OnlyFans, if you're actively seeking out someone that you like, that can send you personalized content.
Yes. Videos.
Like if I found out Nick was subscribed to anyone's OnlyFans, I would be fucking livid.
I would be
beyond livid.
Unless it was like something
that would be
funny,
almost deal breaker cause of like
Nikocado avocado, like if he has an OnlyFans, like you know what I mean.
But I feel like it's getting more personal. Like it's more like it doesn't matter if they're like halfway across the world. It's too intimate.
It's too intimate.
OnlyFans, I think,
is a huge limit for me. That should be a single platform. You shouldn't be, and like maybe your spouse is okay with it, but again, I just want people to have, round this all out is at the end of the day, I don't give a flying fuck what you do in your relationship and what you like, but you best be fucking making sure you're having these conversations with your spouse. And be aware, right? Like, cause like maybe let's just think about this way. Maybe if your wife, girlfriend knows that you're watching porn and she is so insecure that now she doesn't want to have sex with you and it has now ruined your sexual relationship because every time she goes to get naked, she knows she's not stacking up to the women that you're getting off to on your private time. And if you're not putting into her and making her feel beautiful too and giving that attention to her, she's going to see it somewhere else. And then on top of it, like you, then you start to separate. And then all of a sudden now you got OnlyFans and now this girl's talking to you and she's treating you so much better than your wife is. And she's listening to you and she's sending you nudes all the time.
How porn
this is how
it ruins your life.
Exactly. It sounds stupid, but it is.
It stems from
it's porn. A gateway. It's a gateway.
It's a gateway drug.
It is a gateway drug, porno. And I would make fun of people and say that they were prudes and whatever. And again, if that makes you guys happy in your relationship, honestly, do it. But I'm just saying, don't do stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable in this space just to help, like, make your spouse happy. Talk about it. Have these uncomfortable conversations. It's not fun, but better now than not.
A lot of heartache.
Because if you don't know and all of a sudden you find out or it gets more intense or...
I'd be interested to know how many men listen to this, get a girl's perspective and then think like, me and my wife have had kind of like a rut. Like we've been kind of in a slump and I have been watching porn more. So yeah, you take that out of your life. You start having open dialogue. You maybe tell your wife you look pretty good today, looking cute. Yeah. Like you start focusing all that energy on her. Yeah. I would be hard pressed to find someone that says that it doesn't like night and day change their relationship.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I mean. Just being aware, and being aware, is your spouse comfortable with that? And like, to what degree? And
maybe they don't care. Maybe they watch porn too. Who the hell knows?
Maybe. And exactly. And like, what do you guys need? I think that just needs to open up the conversation. And I think again, this is why it's been a taboo talk, is because people are afraid to be honest with their spouses. I know, like,
it's an uncomfortable one, but it's an
uncomfortable one, but it's an important one. We've all talked about it since
we're adults.
We're adults. You have to be like, hey, and I'm like, oh, like this is new. I didn't learn this.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
for
communication key.
Yes, and being graceful. So one last thing we did too, I just want to wrap up because it's been a really good show, but I feel like
this is going to be a part one of many.
Yes, absolutely. And again, guys, our opinions. So one thing I said, is there anything else you guys wanted us to talk about that we didn't talk about? So that one was including strippers. So bachelorette parties and bachelor parties, this bothers me more. Yeah.
It's in person though. That's like physical. You can touch that person. They're right in front of you. And when we were younger, we've gone to strip clubs and stuff with the guys. I don't think I've ever gone to one with Nick ever together, but like I have been to them, and I can easily say if he's gonna go with a bachelor party, I don't want to fucking know about it.
Yeah, I know.
And I would prefer you did not.
Yes, I prefer it too.
Because I trust him implicitly. Like, I 100% I trust him. But I know what those bitches are doing to make money. I know how far they'll go to make that fucking money. And so help me God, if I found out, like, I would probably...
I just don't like the situation. I don't see the purpose of it again, right? Like, I'm past the point where it's like, oh, it's your bachelor party, the last hurrah. That being said, I went to the male strippers for my stagette, but where it's like
male strippers they're so different from female strippers.
It is. It's like
it's a show. It's an entertainment thing.
It's an entertainment show, and again, I don't know.
Putting money in their G-strings as much. I find that is it's more of like the visual show, whereas
even now,
strippers, it's physical contact. In my opinion.
Even now, though, I don't think like if me and Grant ever get engaged, like he can have his own bachelor party if he wants to, but I think I'd prefer us going out and celebrating as a couple. To me, that's just funner. I guess I'm just not into that like childish, like, oh, we need to have our one night fling. I need to go see titties before I get married. Like, you're about to see titties for the rest of your life. What are you talking about? Like, I guess that my life and thoughts about all those things, even though I did them, has vastly changed
so much. Yeah.
And when I was out at my stagette in Vegas, I had a guy approach me, and in the States, I think they do this more than in Canada, where they had a list of things that they had to do. And one of them
scavenger hunt.
Exactly. And one of them was to have some girl pretend that she was giving you a blowjob, and just take a picture. And I was like, absolutely. And they were like, oh, we're hoping that you had a checklist and you had to do this. And I was like, no checklist. I'm good. Thank you. And they're like, what do you mean? Don't you? And I was just like, this is fucked. I was like, absolutely not. Like, if that was my man, I'd be.
If I found out, we had Nick had a bachelorette party and they made some kind of skeezy scavenger hunt like that to get like disgusting stuff like that. Yeah, I
was so embarrassed just to even be asked. It was Adam anyway, so it was just like,
the worst part is like I get it, but like I get the like last night of fun and stuff, and like I can appreciate that, but like you can do so much better activities, and like why be so damaging and harmful and like potentially like ruin a marriage that hasn't even begun. Like,
yeah, and I just and you just don't know the people that I just think it's weird. I very changed where I was like, I did have fun, I did have my own. I wouldn't be against Grant wanting to go do, but it's like you can go do a guys' weekend anytime that you want to go and do
poker,
that.
Go play poker, go race cars,
and whatever. Like I get it, but I was like, same thing. We'd always go to the strippers before. That's where you'd pre-drink and then you'd go out. And I think to this day, I've never understood that. It was
that was a standard. It was just kind of common practice.
Red Deer, that's like, and I just exactly. And I'm not shading people. It's just it's not for me anymore. I'm not into this anymore. I don't relate to it anymore. It's just not where I want to spend my time and money. If I'm going out drinking, like I'd rather go to a winery or like a concert or something with good positive energy.
I'd rather go like old school where like 13 years old you could get like drunk in a field with your friends and have a bonfire.
Yes, please. Or at the lake.
Or like is way better fun than going to see some probably used gross like fake boobies in my face, and like it's not for me anymore. But when we were younger, it was common practice. You go to the Rippers.
Again, we did that to look cool. Like, we would collect all the posters, and when guys came over, we're so cool because we had all these stripper posters.
I have a poster for my 18th birthday. My buddy got it for me from the one stripper that I liked. I have it for my 18th birthday somewhere wrapped up in a box. And yeah, like it is, but it's a societal and social like thing. Like it's an event or
but
like
then,
parade.
But then they like light up the money and throw it at them to try and hurt them. This is what I don't understand. And you hear people talk about this all the time, and it just makes me sad. Anyways, and then early exposure and effects on relationship and self-esteem, which we talked about, and how early, like that is so young to be exposed to that. And there is studies that show that it does affect kids being exposed to sex at a young age in any capacity, seeing it, being exposed to it, and what does that tell them is okay for love and relationships? And again, call me a prude, guys, whatever, I don't care. I was a huge slut. I feel like
as late as you can introduce that to children, I feel like the better, because it really does, it changes everything immediately.
It did. It changed it for me.
It really, like, I remember my aunt saying, like, once you have sex with someone, you are emotionally invested beyond the point of like control. Like, you will not have a control in how you feel anymore, because you have connected yourself to this person. And if they don't feel the same way, they do something to hurt you that normally would have just been like, yeah, that hurts, that's offensive. But now you are so emotionally tied to this person that it is just devastating. Devastating.
And so, then you disassociate too. Or you disassociate when you have sex.
There's trauma, and that's where it starts. It starts with before porn even comes into play. I just feel like the discussion and education of sex, period, just needs to be better. Like a lot better.
And like women's cycles and all that. And I liked your answer too, is that I think what we want to dive into again is talking about probably having more of an opinion of people that have watched it. So that'll be our second episode on this, is talking to those that actually do watch it more than us, because then they maybe can give us a little bit more insight of what that feels like. But like you said too, talking about Kinsey and his perverted studies and the theories about sex and where that all started, and that they think that, and we're seeing this now with the trans age thing, where it's like kids should be able to have sexual exploration and
sexual from birth.
From birth.
Kinsey, honestly, in my opinion, that's a whole episode on its own. He is what started every kind of perverse and perverted thing in our world. His studies were done in the 50s. 60s and 70s come with the sexual liberation. Playboy, which is like Playboy is, they branded themselves and did that so impeccably smart that they branded a perverted 90, 80, 70 something year old man dating 20, 19 and 18-year-old girls. If you really think about that objectively.
And all of us wanted to be a Playboy bunny at some point and put Playboy on us or bought it, because
stickers, your tanning,
I was just thinking
everything.
That.
Like,
I had so much. I still have stuff.
I truly do believe it 100% starts with Kinsey and normalizing and trying to make it a like sexual freedom. You're sexual and it's okay, like be comfortable with that. And like to a degree, yeah, you should be, like, people are sexual. It does happen, but at a certain age we become sexual, not from birth. Not as 3-month-olds and like 2-year-olds and like it just he was, that is a whole other episode, but I believe, in my opinion, that's where it began. Like in mainstream and in societal, it started with him, and it is true. Like, he is just a disgusting human being, and everything sexual today it stems from his disgusting.
And another thing too is that I just want to point out before we dive off of this show, because this was amazing, Hales. I hope everyone listens with an open understanding and doesn't get all upset and triggered, because we're allowed to have our opinions. But I think my biggest thing is, like, all these things tied in and got more intense. And now we're to a point where we need to talk about how this is affecting everyone, because it is like, and too, like, we like hate the white man. Well, who fucking owns Victoria's Secret, guys? Who owns all of these big companies? Who owns the OnlyFans platforms? Who are funding all of these things? Dirty old white men. Like, come on. You either hate them, you love them. But like, it's just it's super ironic. And I just,
and if you do have a completely opposite opinion of us, come discuss.
Yeah,
be polite and be diplomatic and be open to discussion, but come and discuss. Come and tell us why you think we're wrong, or why you think porn is awesome.
Yes. And that, because I'm missing it. Like, I honestly went and searched, and I'm searching, and outside of people in the industry saying, it's this for me now while I'm in it, and they're trying to sell it like OnlyFans is a platform with the more influence, the more people you have, the more money you make.
Sales pitch always.
It's a sales pitch. It's a pornography MLM in a sense, right? The more people and influence you have, the more money you're going to make.
Yeah.
You know, that's why all these celebrities are making fucking bank, because everyone knows. Anyways, whatever. I think there's so many pieces. I think I just want to have the discussion of like, what is your personal experience with pornography? Has it been positive? Has it been negative? Has it affected your relationship or your idea of what women or men should look or perform like? And start having that conversation with your spouse, especially if sex is an issue or you have had insecurities or any of that stuff, because a lot of it stems from what we have been told these things are. And if you don't realize that that's not normal, what you're watching and what you're experiencing is normal, you're going to feel like you're not, and it's really going to affect stuff. So I just think we need to have
opening that door for conversation.
Yes. And if, like I said, like Haley said, if there's all these positives, please help me find them, because like I said, outside of those that are in it at the moment saying, yeah, I'm making a fuck ton of money and I feel good, all the people on the other side that have exited are saying the complete opposite. So
like,
again,
I'm glad to be out. It was detrimental.
Yes,
the more I look at it, it's just not good for me. Yeah.
And so my question is this another space that we have informed consent? I don't believe so. Even the people that are consuming, being aware that, yes, there is people that are into it, of course, but there is a big chunk that is being paid too much, manipulated to, coerced into doing it, fraudulently told, like Andrew Tate allegedly told all these women, you can come to Romania and be my wife, I'll take care of you, get there, nope, you're working for me, you're now in this country, you don't know, you're sold a dream, which is fraud, which is trafficking, and that is what a lot of this is, and a lot of it isn't. So yes, is OnlyFans providing more safety for these women? Sure. But I wanted to point out, is it because they have social medias that show where they are all the time? And so if I'm an obsessed stalker and a rapist who are into this hardcore porn and gonzo shit, they're going to find you. And that is scary. And there's lots of people that get doxxed, and like, it's scary. So I just want people to be informed of what they're supporting, what the bad part of the industry is, because we see the good. We see all these honeys making their money and their empowerment, but what are the girls on the other side actually saying when they come out? How is this affecting human being and shaping society? I think it's important to talk about without getting triggered.
I also feel like if it wasn't free the way it is, like you can go on Pornhub and pretty much watch porn for free. If you physically had to pay, put your ID, put your name down and everything, I feel like it still would be prevalent. Like there'd still be lots of dudes on it and people on it, but I feel like
it was like, oh, you looked up baby feet, I think that would have, and it wasn't so elusive. So it's, again, yes, you have every right to do those certain things, but when it actually affects people and relationships, I think it's important to talk.
They're allowed to their opinion as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you think it's amazing, but just tell me, show me those things, because the things that we've researched and our experience says not so, but again,
not so awesome.
It's a thing where it's just like, hey, you know what? We like to visit Aunt Molly a couple times a year. I don't think that's a terrible thing, but I don't think it's good to do it every weekend. And I don't think it's good to do it, every couple of weeks. It's the same thing with porn. If you want to watch it because, you've been away, hey, do it before you cheat. 100%. If, and if it is something
pressure release, tension release, any kind of whatever,
but have awareness of what is that doing to your spouse. Be aware of
what you're consuming.
Yeah, and how that's affecting other people, whether they're involved in it or not. And is that affecting your perception of what they should perform or act or look like? And just be honest. If you're like, nope, it doesn't affect me, great, then continue. But please be honest with your spouse. And I hope that's the case. Or you're like, no, this is a great idea.
It does affect me,
And Jordan Peterson said the best thing is deprivation. So if you want to normalize and reverse that overstimulation, you need to back it up, because men have not been able to see hundreds of beautiful women as fast and as quickly and as much as they have now.
If you want to know if you're addicted or dependent, stop doing it for 30 days.
Yeah, see what happens.
Try a week at that and see what happens.
Yeah, and slowly do it. And we're always, again, open to stuff. But guys, comes to the end of the show. Follow us on Rumble because now we're up on Rumble. Probably not gonna. I mean, we'll post it on YouTube. Let's see what happens. We said pussy quite a few times. Yeah, King Bao got taken, I think, off of TikTok for saying the word pussy. So then he went back and he sang it, pussy. And then it was okay. But because he said it, it wasn't allowed. So we'll see. So maybe on YouTube, but still follow us there, guys. Instagram, that's our jam. Season 5. We're going to bring Facebook back because I'm going to teach Haley how to use the business suite and post everywhere because I know some people do still like Facebook. So I do want to put stuff there, but include it without having to do too much there. So yeah, guys, follow us on all our platforms. We're about to end season 4. We're so excited. Yeah. Fucking season 5 is next level. Me and Haley we're trying so hard to learn how to edit.
Yep.
Maybe this episode we will get there.
We'll be fancy one day.
Yeah, always fancy. We'll have the things coming across when, that.
Transitions.
But the transitions to the next one and the words and stuff. But just now you get our weird faces. But as always, guys, thank you so much for the support. Haley, this was an amazing talk.
This was a great talk.
Of a very big series that we're going to continue talking about. And if, like you said, you have a positive, negative, whatever effects you want to talk about, how pornography has affected your life, your marriage, your children, we're here. We're open. You don't even have to use your face. You could just be a voice with a emoticon.
Maybe we'll try and learn editing and we'll distort your voice so you sound really weird and not like yourself.
Yeah. See, guys, so much coming for season 5.
Hell yeah.
But anyways, fucking yeah. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Thank you guys for stopping by the show today. We appreciate you so much. If you like this episode and you want to see more, make sure to show us some love on our Instagram page, the Be Real Babe Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube. Make sure you're turning on those notifications for Apple and Spotify so you get notified as soon as an episode drops. Or you can become a member of our Patreon page with extra content and early access. But make sure to stay tuned for more realness coming to you next week, babes.